I'm Gautam, aka The Seeker of Wisdom. I'm a manifestation coach, and in this video, we're going to be talking a little bit about manifesting a celebrity. Now, before I do so, I like to remind you guys I am available for coaching, so I offer hourly, monthly, email, and DM coaching. The link will be in the description down below for an FAQ page where you guys will have all the answers you need. And thereafter, you guys can reach out to me via Instagram or email for pricing information. I also have a Facebook group where I upload resources from time to time, as well as you guys can ask me questions anonymously. I also have a mailing list where I post articles from time to time, and as well as my latest offers for coaching. And last but not least, I also have a Manifest Your SP course, which is currently in the process of being relaunched right now. But the basic premise is that it's being designed for veterans and beginners alike. It brings you start to finish on how to manifest your SP, going step by step in dealing with various different scenarios, everything from like we're talking from acronyms all the way till like dealing with things like third party, for example. I go into detail. I will be releasing it soon, and you guys can actually see what are the modules in it right from the start in the homepage, even before you purchase it. So if you guys have any questions or any doubts on that, you guys can always reach out to me. One misconception I guess a lot of people have is, am I involved in some way, like through one-on-one coaching with your Manifest Your SP course? The Manifest Your SP course is strictly a self-study course, so I will not be directly be involved in it, but everything that you see there was written by me, and also all the videos there are also done by me. I also designed the quizzes by myself, so it's all my work there. It's all me at the end of the day. But I won't be there like in front of you, directly one-on-one communicating with you per se. So this is really designed for like people who, if you guys are like working all the time, if you don't really have time to sort of commit to that one-on-one, this is really great to get really super thorough coaching from me. And also what's neat about this is that if you purchase it right now, you will get the updates for free as well. So when I do launch it, be sure to be on the lookout for it, as it's going to be a bargain when you guys purchase it, honestly. So yeah, so without further ado, let's get to the topic at hand, which is manifesting a celebrity. Now, when it comes to manifesting a celebrity, like the process is pretty much the same as you would manifest a specific person of any kind. Of course, I guess the biggest difference is that these people are celebrities. And now, when I say celebrities, I'm using that term on a very broad sense. Like, we are talking about like maybe YouTubers, movie stars, TV stars, and so on and so forth, right? I'm keeping that term broad. Basically, anyone who is well known in any way, but it could be even like a famous, like like someone who often appears on screen, or someone who's just well known in a specific community, and so on. The reason why I'm throwing all that out is these are kind of distinctions that I've heard amongst my clients or in my FB group, and these are things that I've heard like variations of. But ultimately, they are saying, okay, this person is famous, they are a celebrity. Well, how do I go about manifesting them, right? And the process, like I said, is the same. But before I even go into that, like, let me just say this, right? Like, these are just people, right? Like, while that may seem like, well, isn't that kind of obvious? Like, why should you actually point that out? But a lot of people do get caught up in the idea that, oh my god, that's a celebrity right there, so they are impossible to reach. Will they ever notice me? And all those kinds of things come up. I want you to, right off the bat, like, bring them down from that kind of pedestal and see them for who they are. They're just another person. Sure, a lot of people know them, but at the end of the day, that doesn't change the fact that they are just a well-known person. That's it, right? So, like, at the end of the day, they are just doing their job, and their job is such that they get that kind of kind of puts them on the spotlight, if you will. So at the end of the day, when you look at it for what it truly is, right? Maybe their job or their career kind of puts them in that spotlight, right? um, it kind of just like removes that mystification, if you will, right? It kind of just demystifies the whole process. Like, okay, if let's say you in love with a NBA star, for example, right? And you think like, oh, they are a celebrity, will they ever notice me, and things like that. If you think about it, like, they are just doing their job, they get on the spotlight for that, and they become famous, right? Like, because they become very popular and they become very well known. They may be good at their craft, which is good, which is all good, but just because of that, you don't put them on a pedestal and make them unattainable in your mind, right? Because they are just another person at the end of the day, right? And this applies to broadly, not just a celebrity, but for any specific person of any sorts. Is they're just another person at the end of the day. The only reason they feel special is because of you, right? The only reason they feel special is because of you and what kind of a mental state you put them in. So I want you to kind of remember this whenever you feel like they are unattainable, or you are feeling like, okay, my SP is a celebrity. Will they ever notice me? I'm not even close to them in any way, skill wise or financially or whatsoever. How will this happen and so on? Like, look at it basically for what it is. At first, is they're just another person, right? So once you can kind of overcome that, like, I think, like, it kind of becomes easier from there onwards. And the other things, of course, how will you get into their social circle? Now this is a big one, right? Like, if they are a celebrity, well, then how do you get introduced to them? How do you get kind of the ball rolling, right? That's a concern for a lot of people, because from for many people, sometimes the SPs in another country, right, with celebrities, because because we are living in a very globalized world, right? So a person, say, from like Japan may fall in love with a person from like Germany, for example, just by watching them on TV, right? Like, they may be interested in that person, right? Hey, I really like this person. I want to manifest them, for example, right? And so how do you get from there to where your SP is, or how will this all pan out? How do you get the ball rolling, and so on, right? So those are concerns that a lot of people have. And for that, what I would say is, the how is never your business, right? All you have to do is simply imagine the idea that you are now living in a blissful, loving relationship with your SP, and life is great, right? So start imagining that instead. So again, the how is never your concern. Don't bother with how you guys are going to get the ball rolling, but rather what I would say is that imagine the end desire, even if it's just a date with that person, right? Imagine it, right? And this is one thing that I'll always tell people as well. Like, if you are manifesting these kinds of things, or anything for that matter, it's better not to tell anyone at first, simply because, like, they may just shoot it down and you may get a little discouraged as a result. So to save yourself that trouble, to save yourself of all those like doubts and fears that could potentially be planted by other people, you simply don't say it out loud, right? And it's like that saying, right? Like, you can't ruin what you don't know, right? Like, I'm not like trying to say that by discussing it with anyone, it will go wrong. Like, that's not a limiting belief that I want to plant in anyone. But what I am saying is that, like, if you are manifesting, it would be better, especially in the beginning, at least, especially in the early stages where you are very vulnerable, where you are very shaky, potentially, like, it's better not to. And like, conserve your energy, use it to manifest your SP, right? Rather than, like, trying to like share your excitement and everything. Like, when you are together with that person, trust me, the entire world's gonna know. Your friends are gonna find out in that process too, right? So don't even be concerned about that. See them for what they are, like, work on manifesting them and so on. But and don't have to tell anyone, right? Like, because, like I said, it's a waste of energy trying to convince people, especially if they are not on board with such things like manifesting, or just like, if they're not convinced that one can't manifest anyone, let alone a celebrity. It's waste of energy to kind of trying to convince those kinds of people. And I would say, like, definitely conserve your energy and keep it to yourself for the time being, and just focus on devoting your attention to your inner world as much as possible, where you are in a blissful relationship with SP, right? And I guess the third thing that kind of pops up sometimes is skill level wise, right? Or financially, right? And skill level wise, you can always say, like, oh, my SP is so good at this, but I'm not really that kind of person. So I don't know how we're gonna like, or if like SP is going to like me because they are so accomplished and they are so um, well versed and they are so well off in life, if you will. And again, I always say, well, why are you giving yourself the rule that SP is there, I'm here, will SP like me? Like, stop coming up with that narrative on your own, right? Rather, what you should be doing is coming up with this idea where you guys are removing as much pressure away from you as possible. One neat way to do this, at least what I have found, is by telling yourself that your SP loves you unconditionally. So same thing here, right? You can always say that your SP loves you unconditionally. What does unconditional mean is, right, it means there are no conditions. So regardless of what you do or you don't, SP still loves you, right? So that means that you're not having a prerequisite of anything to fulfill so that you can be together with your SP, which is really a great thing, if you will, right? So when you come at it from that perspective, that hey, SP loves me unconditionally, I'm always in a loving relationship with SP. When you come at it from that perspective, it really like changes the perspective and the dynamic of it. Like, okay, regardless of what I do, SP always loves me, SP always cares for me. And like, when you come at it from those kinds of things, like, it really removes the pressure off of your actions, and you can just go by your life without being concerned about anything, if you will, right? So yeah, so take the pressure off of yourself, and certainly don't underestimate yourself. Certainly, like, recognize the strengths and skills that you have, and also think about it this way, right? If they are a celebrity, and their skill sets are like very specific skill sets, right? And they have just had the time to kind of hone it such that they are very good at their craft. That's it, right? So if you look at your life too, I bet there is one or two skills that you're really, really good at. Imagine someone being intimidated by you for those specific skill sets, right? Like, you get what I mean, right? Like, it's like it really looks very absurd from the celebrity's perspective, if you will. So don't let that kind of intimidate you in any way, right? Rather, come at this from a place of love. Assume that they always love you, that they always cherish you, and and that you are adding value to their life as well. Now that leads me to the next one, which is financial wise. How do you go about it, right? If SP is significantly wealthier than you, which sometimes they potentially could be, right? And then the question comes, okay, they are so much more wealthier than me. Like, I don't know how they would be convinced to be in a relationship with me, because what can I bring? I may not have the skills like we already talked about. But what about wealth as well? Like, I don't think I have enough, or and those kinds of things, right? Here's the thing: money is energy, right? Money is energy, and you are the king slash queen of your reality, right? So you can always say, SP always treats me like a king or queen, so, like, what I would say is that money is a state of mind. So when you change your state of mind to think abundantly, right, money would just flow in, right? So what if they have more money, right? That means they're going to spend more on you, so to speak. Like, so come at it from that perspective. For example, like, if you are a person who always puts themselves first, who always makes it about you, right, you are going to come at this from a place of, well, great, if they are rich, great, because that means they're going to spend more on me. For example, that means they're going to shower me with more gifts, and and pamper me with more vacations and stuff like that, right? I'm not talking about this from a materialistic perspective, don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying, like, make this all about you, and make flip everything to sound and be favorable for you. Because what is stopping you from thinking that, right? And if you really think about it, everything that I've just spoken about, it all boils down to self-concept. The reason why you can't think about this from the perspective of, okay, how is SP going to use all this wealth to give me a great life, right? It's because of self-concept, right? It's because of a lack thereof, if you will. So what I would do is recognizing the value that I bring to the table, right? That I bring to the relationship, and recognizing that, okay, hey, these skills are as important and as valuable as my SPs, right? SP always loves me and everything, and just because they are on the spotlight doesn't make me any less special, because in my reality the spotlight is always on me, right? And we're not talking about the ones you see in cinema or like on a background theater stage or anything like that. We're talking about the emphasis in our reality is always on us, because why? Consciousness is experiencing the reality through us. We are the operant power, not our SP, but us. I don't care who they are in your reality right now, right? Regardless of who they are, in your reality, you are always the star, right? Never forget that, right, guys? Never ever forget that, because I want you guys to remember that, always to put the emphasis on you and make it all about you, right? Again, like with the skills, for example, right? Okay, if you think about it, like, okay, well, how is SP going to use their skills to make my life better? What are they going to bring, and to teach me, for example? And always make it about them and what they are offering to you, right? Make it all about them convincing you to be in a relationship, right? While it may seem arrogant, while it may seem like cocky to some, but it's really not, right? You're coming at it from a place of utter confidence, so that you're not putting your SP on a pedestal, which then kind of rolls into everything. And even if you do meet them, even if you do bump into them, they're not going to reciprocate those feelings that you have for them, because you are clearly putting them on a pedestal. Bring them down, focus on yourself, put the emphasis on yourself, and they have to reflect that, right? And as for worrying about the how, don't, it will come to you, right? Like as Neville always says, right? Like free will ends in your ability to choose your desires. Everything that happens from there, assuming that you are holding on to your favorable mental diet, right? Assuming that you're doing all those things, it unfolds perfectly towards the fulfillment of your desire in the 3D. Like you have no control over the 3D, right? You have no free will in the 3D. Everything unfolds according to what you're doing here in your internal world, right? So when you can solve that, everything else has to pan out, guys. Everything else has to, like act in your favor, if you will, unfold in such a way that the people, the situation are all so aligned to your desires that you feel like you are being like taken on a magic carpet and putting yourself right where your desires are, if you will, right? So everything that is unfolding perfectly, so just trust the process and keep going, right? Before you know it, you're already together with your SP and it feels like a magical story, right? So guys, that's all. So let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments down below. If this video resonated with you, be sure to drop a like, turn on the bell notifications, and of course be sure to subscribe, guys. We are going to reach 1K subscribers really soon, so definitely subscribe if this content resonated with you. If you guys like what I'm doing, definitely subscribe, as it goes a long way for me. And guys, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe and happy manifesting. Peace.